use my art as a medium through which I can understand the world around me by removing my consciousness and placing it in a world or plane where the conflicts of this reality do not exist in the same way. By pouring every emotion I have as a reaction to my experience of the human condition into these drawings, I have created a reality that in every conceivable way is parallel to my own experience of life while still completely maintaining its own sentience. I find this compelling because despite the fact that my art is me and only me, the experience which others have with it may be completely different than my own. My art depicts a reality in which these stretchy, scary, uncomfortable, or dismembered-looking characters all exist and interact. Magic is also a very important part of my world, as it replaces any form of physics with a completely new, blank idea from which I can start the rules of physics from scratch. There exists a being named the Warp Mother, who has unhindered influence over magic. Her children, or spawn, are these tiny triangle-headed goblins who bud out of her arms, and they are the main reason why my art looks the way that it does. These mischievous extensions of the Warp Mother's consciousness bend and warp my world, creating patterns, reflections, and outlines that I now find define my art. Over time, I have created more and more variety between my creatures, definition that could almost resemble species classification, except they aren't species because each one acknowledges their part in the grander story. The resemblances and difference that each character hold to each other in no way define the nature of their interactions or relationships. Through individuality, we are all equal. In a way, my art also confronts the issues I have with the real world by creating a thriving reality without the hatred and anger that we have on Earth. I am representing a utopia in which, in some far-off alternate reality, humanity too may have been able to achieve. I usually don't plan out my drawings or concepts ahead of time. Instead, I use these characters as mediums through which I can express whatever obscure emotion I may be feeling at the time that I'm making them. The expressions and body language of each being represent a level of vulnerability with other people that I could not achieve in any other way. Also, much of my work constantly exists in an in-between state of being completed and incompleted, which I find interesting. This is a product of my process, and the fact that I work on multiple pieces at once. This means that at any given point, every piece is constantly evolving with me as I experience life. Not only does my art reflect my emotions, but also the linear progression of my life. However, the narrative that I depict through my art strays from what we understand a story to be. A story is supposed to be linear, with a beginning, middle, and end, whereas I think of my art as simply existing. There is no time frame in which the events shown in my drawings must occur, they simply just do. I like to believe that these beings have surpassed time. They exist in harmony, without trauma or pain, but still reflect the human experience and emotion, giving viewers an opportunity to connect. A large conceptual motivator for me is the theory of multiple universes, which is currently the most vastly agreed upon theory by scientists about the nature of reality. This theory essentially states that after the border of our universe is passed, an infinite number of alternate realities that could either be shimmers of our reality or completely different from each other exist. Therefore, any reality you could imagine exists in some way, somewhere, in some form. This shift in mentality that I have had since I have realized this has given me the opportunity to see my art as a separate entity from myself, while still maintaining a level of control with it that I need to continue creating. After researching these alternate realities, I began developing slightly new styles that differ from my original works. Now all these different realities warp together and twist together, or exist peacefully on their own at times. I think that each reality conveys different emotions similar to the way that the faces of the characters do, but on a more vague scale. When a black hole swallows matter, it does not gain any mass. Instead, the surface of a black hole is encrypted with the information of that object. This means that black holes have a means to turn a three-dimensional matter into two-dimensional data. Therefore, that means that information or thought is just as real as matter. This incomprehensible transition of dimensions is a perfect metaphor for how I make art. The input is me and my experience of the human condition. The output is my art, both as real and separate as the other. Both as real and separate from the other, while still being completely dependent on each other for existence.